Okay, it's day 129, and the only thing we really learned from the Democratic memo is that Carter Page has been used as a surveillance rabbit, what I call a surveillance rabbit. Basically, he runs around and rubs his nose against whoever you want to surveil, and then you start surveillance on them in the FISA court. And I had said that he had been used as a surveillance rabbit going very far back with Victoria Nuland here. Is at least back to 2009. Well, the Democratic memo proved that I was right going back to 2013. The only new facts out of the 10 pages, most of the 10 pages were deny, 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 make exculpatory statements for the FBI, etc. The one piece of information, the new piece of information, was Carter Page was used as a surveillance rabbit. Now again, I know everyone's going to say, oh wait, you said that 19 days ago. Believe it or not, we're closing the gap. And this, for me, is a relatively short period of time before mainstream confirmation is coming. So if you want to go back and look, just say George Webb, Carter Page, catch up on all the Carter Page stuff. Now that more of what I've said has been trestled under, you're going to have a lot more. It's just going to seem very much less speculative than it was 19 days ago. You're going to see how true a lot of the references were. The important piece of this is also Manafort was used in this way. And Manafort is now being stabbed in the back. And I think this is the appreciation people still don't have, that Manafort was what I call the bishop, used in a higher level manner, more insiders, more at the high level of the Sechin, the right-hand man of a guy who can get a meeting with the right-hand man of a USSR. But you will find that Paul Manafort has met Sechin, and that's how Sechin was put on surveillance. And so it goes. And this is why it's so important for now that the two memos, the summary memos, are out there. Now we need to see the actual FISA court proceedings. I know the judges ruled against that in part, but then we also need to actually see the FISA applications, all 99 pages, see exactly what went into it, because the American people need to understand this. This was a soft coup. This was a soft coup attempt. So you have to look at actually the documents that the conspirators used in the soft coup. That's absolutely fundamental to our right of review and our due process. There's just no other way to talk about it. We've actually been talking about Carter Page more than a year now. Lionel made some funny jokes about that when we had that interview. And again, no one has really looked at how Carter Page has been used as far as getting visas for Chinese nationals coming into the United States, getting visas for Russian nationals coming into the United States. How is he related to Omar Awan? He worked for him in San Diego, still hasn't come forward. And I talk about how Carter Page is probably a knock. We don't know that background yet, like Valerie Plame, but he does seem to be, in the same way Valerie Plame was used for uranium, it seems like Carter Page is used for oil and gas, especially in Eastern Europe. So there's the Chinese visas. I make the Chinese visa point, and I make the just all the proximity. What news agency, what news outlet's actually gone to show you how close he lives to the Naval Observatory, or the fact that he had a naval intelligence background? Nobody. The number of times he visited the Soviet embassy, who's asking those questions? Again, this is going to be a fundamental part of understanding a soft coup in American history. All of this needs to be understood. This is almost like the 18-minute gap in Nixon's tape. It's so fundamental to understanding what actually happened in Watergate, or whatever that was, 13-minute gap, that it needs to be explored. How many times did Carter Page go to the Russian embassy? How many visas did Carter Page get? How many people did he meet with over there? How many people ended up on surveillance because of Carter Page had a meeting with them at the Chinese embassy or the Russian embassy? Again, here it is. Here he's working for Omar Awan in San Diego, going back to 2008. Now, is that because he's getting Pakistani visas? We don't know yet. There is a whole, the other thing I saw done in the memos was that somehow that Peter Strzok and Lisa Page's conversations were a red herring. Yeah, 50,000 messages in the three most important investigations of our time. Hillary investigation, the Huma investigation, and the Trump investigation. They're involved all the way through, as well as Benghazi and some other major events. And that's a red herring. That's a little bit like saying John Wilkes Booth is a red herring. Well, I guess so. It depends on how you look at it. If you're really interested in the play, I guess John Wilkes Booth is a red herring. So again, documents. No one is really looking at any of the supporting documents as far as Carter Page is concerned, any of the supporting investigations or other investigations he was used to do. But that is the key here to unraveling this American history here. So I will just say this, that everything we've seen so far has been a very cursory, all the news programs has been a very cursory understanding of who Carter Page was for a 3-month period of time. Actually, I think he worked for the Trump campaign less than that. And in order to understand history, you have to understand the full flight of the arrow. Where did this guy come from? He came from Navy intel. How was he used? Well, he was used all over Eastern Europe in the resources business. When did he start getting used to get convictions and exact bids from Russian oligarchs? Well, we know now it goes back to at least 2013, and I say it goes back to 2009.